Chapter 7. Behind the Scenes. Kariko-sama, I'm here to escort you, Marcy Diplo said as she stared at a monitor that displayed the operations base. Let's leave immediately. After the broadcast was finished, Petit Washu had left and the Mechalord had been resealed and was moved elsewhere. Mia. Seeing Petit Washu's appearance, Fuku did a wild dance. She rushed to her and clung to Petit Washu's head, but since she was in a chibi body only slightly larger than Fuku, her center of gravity was lower. Fuku. Stop clinging to my head, please. Fuku's weight made her turn upside down. But for Fuku that was a trivial thing. Mia. Well then, I guess I have no choice but to deal with this a while. Fuku refused to move. Petit Washu showed a wry smile. Fuku, catch. Petit Washu threw two things like candy into Fuku's mouth. Maya. Swallow properly. Mia. The next moment when Petit Washu was satisfied with the situation, Mickey, Kerchi, and Dee raised their voices. Why are you three here? Well, we felt someone enter the Kamedake. The Kamedake? Do you mind coming with us? Mickey asked mysteriously as she sent a wink to Kariko, who turned to Petit Washu. This place. In the Kamedake? Did you have it moved here? The place where they went with Petit Washu was one of the subspatial plates fixed in the ship. But the huge buildings in front of them and their surroundings were all very strange. It looks like the shape of that ship. Kagata Suja's that I once saw in an article. And around the runway and other facilities, it looked like an airport or Air Force base. The horizon was totally flat and nothing could be seen in the distance. Hey, look at the sky. Oh! Amain pointed to the clouds where the other 5 plate spaces could be seen behind the clouds. In other words, there were now 6 plates in total, including the place where they were. 3 pieces on each side, so it's increased by 2. I increased them by 2, one of which is where we are now. Petit Washu said, matter-of-factly. Is that by any chance why you made Fuku eat those things earlier? Yes, they were keys to fix the position coordinates of the subspace. So to speak, this is where I stored the sacred Mechalord. This is the secret base of the Amatsu Wolf. I used to use it as a testing space, and there's also a facility for maintenance here. It can also hold and handle repairs on other mechs. In other words, Hakurin, who was using the space in Recepshi, could have the operation transferred there. Oh, is that so? So what's in the other spatial plate? Well, it's sort of a staff recruitment facility. The interior is accelerated in time because the environment is still being prepared, so for now let's just go over the base facilities. The lights came on in the building. The armored shutters began to open. Okay, it's time, Kariko. Go to the central control room and begin the base operation sequence. The format is the same as the Kamedake, so you can use it as soon as your personal data registration is done. The first in command is registered to Kariko and Amain. Ryoko and Neju are basically registered as second in command, so use them properly according to circumstances. Okay, so what are you going to do in the meantime? Oh, well, Fuku still wants to play, so I'm going to play with her and Akachan. Mayan. Fuku gladly clung to Petit Washu. The operation sequence of the base was completed in less than an hour. After linking the necessary data from the Kamedake, it was easy to grasp the controls of the base facilities. After it was over, they waited for Marcy to arrive. Welcome, everyone. Kariko greeted the anti-pirate team with a big smile as they came into the central control center with very nervous faces. Welcome, are you aware of the situation? Yes. I saw the broadcast. Although it wasn't readily observable from her face, Kariko was obsessed with the inhabitants of the fantasy world that she saw in front of her. Anyway, I guess you'll want me to leave the command and operation of the space to you. I think that the operating specifications are different from that of Renza, but I gave you the manual, you can manage it. How long will it take you to get moved over here? Amain took over the explanation on Kariko's behalf. Although it was a virtual manual, it was the same as actually checking the area you wanted to look at, and it was stored in memory. It was possible to use it immediately. The question was whether you could master it and actually put it into use in a combat-ready state. Not that it matters much now, but this is way easier to use than the one we have for Renza. Excuse me. If it's about that, I'd like to have permission to use this operating format on our ships as well. Sagia said to Sauren. Because there are problems of patent rights and confidentiality, we have to keep its use limited. G1 will be the only base, G2 will be flagship Sakura, otherwise it will be G3. Huh. I see. Hey, why is everyone dancing? Sauron had intended to be very careful about watching out for any signs of spy infiltration, but a few of the central control staffers had started dancing around. Well, they really liked the dance that was done earlier, so they're dancing together to practice it. Is it possible to get a copy of that song and the choreography? Ahahaha. It seemed that the cat fairies had grown fond of the Bond Festival dance. I'm sorry. They're competent, but they're a bit like mischievous children. Oh, Sauron-san, that's okay. I'm not mad at that. The music and choreography data are in the library so anyone can access it. Like so. Amain showed Sauron how to access the file. Somewhere in Reception there was a place that looked like a bar. The kind which one entered from a back alley. However, once inside it was quite busy and large inside. Shows were put on here for people who couldn't afford to go to expensive shows. Most of the material was out of print and public domain, such as rare old movies and plays. So naturally it had quite the following. Welcome. I thought you'd come. In an elevated box seat, a woman wearing a hood came up to a place where several people were drinking and watching a show. At the same time, a well-dressed man came in from the back clerk's passage. He was a store manager, or a floor manager, as could be seen from his expensive costume that was different from the other clerks. What a strange production. Oh! It's nice to be able to talk with you in person for a change. You have good tastes, but why did you choose such an old-looking play for today? It must have been made back when people still wrote everything by hand. Is this by any chance one volume of a series? It's something I got from an early-level civilization just a few hours ago. I liked it, and next thing I knew I was several episodes in. Although it's recorded using a primitive technique, the story is interesting and it is more appealing than anything else I had to put on, so I quickly incorporated it into the lineup. The man's expression looked like that of a boy who had found treasure. Well, I'm glad you like it, but it's not my cup of tea. If you sit and pay attention for a while, you'll be astonished. That sounds like more work than it's worth. It's the story of a duel. Are you sure you still object? What? Their previously icy reaction turned to that of surprise. I mean, I figured if you were going to get the job, you'd need to do a little research, but I guess I was wrong. No way. Oh, well, I guess you'll just have to go collect information by yourself at home. Maybe you should go take some pain relievers for that back of yours. The woman returned to her cold-hearted atmosphere as the man gently twisted his upper body and smiled. How can I refuse that? You can't, it's just not feasible. That would be a waste of money. We can't have that now, can we? Are you in a position to refuse? You know I'm not. He opened up a private monitor that cut to the robot fight scene. Where did you get this? From Washu Hakubi. I've heard many rumors of her before, especially from the high-ranking officials of the Federation who fear her. It seems she brought Reception a large library of stuff like this. I'm sure you'll have more than enough to report back to your boss. Hey, no way is this. The girls stared at the screen. The hero robot had just beaten the enemy with a death blow.